So guys, I just made a big mistake, okay? As I was looking for this video that I want to talk about today, I typed Corbells UFO into Twitter. I shouldn't have done that, okay? Because you find things like this. Mick West visiting Jeremy Corbell's booth at AlienCon. Here he is. It's Mick West visiting Jeremy Corbell's booth. The cone hats, dude. I love the Bob Lazar cone hat. That's... Anyway, apparently credit goes to Phil. I don't know who did this or put this together, but you find all kinds of confusing images. But let's get to business, okay? We're going to talk about the latest UFO video coming from Jeremy Corbell. It was released about a week ago. I couldn't get through to talking about it yet. But I think we can speculate and break down what we see in the video and hopefully come up with a reasonable conclusion in the end, what we're looking at here. Again, this was posted June 17th by Jeremy Corbell. He's giving all kinds of background information here, the date, the time, the location. So he's giving good background information about what we're seeing here. But let's first look at the footage itself and then we can read up on the details. Okay, I'm going to play this for you guys. It is 3 separate videos. The quality is rough. Okay, and so is the compression. This is the first video, and I'm most impressed by this one because I can't even see the UFO, okay? I'm watching the clip, I'm like, anytime now, it's like that scene in Jurassic Park, right? Where they look into it's like, oh, there's the Dilophosaurus. It's just not there, all right? But here, we get something. Now, look at the upper part of the screen. I'm sure you've seen this footage before at this point, but here it is. So right now, we're looking at the raw footage, and I want to play this for you guys again before we get into the slightly enhanced version here. Look at, so the object, I'm just explaining this for you guys, but the object comes from up here and curves almost, like kind of flies a curve and then flies horizontally, almost horizontally to the right-hand side. Okay, so keep an eye on that. There it is, it appears, and it almost seems to be like a little bit shiny on the edge there. So to be honest, as I said in the beginning, like the footage itself is rough. It's very compressed and artifacted, so you don't see much. So Jeremy Corbell himself was kind enough to share an AI-enhanced version with us. And you might not know exactly what AI-enhanced means. It means that you take the grainy footage that doesn't have a lot of information of what you see, right? It's artifacted, it's pixelated. If you look at some of the still images of this object, I mean, you see this, right? This is a mush. There is no detail here. It goes through these single frames. Maybe Jeremy Corbell had a sharper version, a crisper version, who knows? This is just what he posted on Twitter. But from what you see here in this original footage, look at this. It's just like, it's a mush. It changes shape. It can't be identified. You know, and to an extent, it can be just due to the camera being outdated or, again, the compression. But, I mean, if you look at this, it blurs into the overall picture. It could also be, it looks to me a little bit like it's been filmed off a screen or something, so that it's not even the original footage that we're looking at here. So it's a disaster, okay? The footage is a disaster, and my theory is, at least, that Jeremy Corbell knew this. If he would only present this footage that we see here, everyone would be like, yeah, dude, I don't know, this is like a water droplet or something. It's nothing. No, so Jeremy Corbell had to add an AI-enhanced version. So let's look at that. And keep in mind, an AI-enhanced version does actively add details that previously weren't there to footage like this. Okay, so here it is, and here's also a close-up of the object kind of coming down from the top left side of the screen and then flying to the right-hand side screen. And you can see, again, let's look at this again, right? You can see that there's a lot of detail that has been added compared to the previous version, right? Like, it's much sharper, the shape is way more defined. Especially in the middle here, we get like several frames where the shape is almost perfectly crisp. But again, keep in mind, this is like artificially sharpened and the AI has to try to understand and back engineer information in this footage. That's simply not there. So it hallucinates details, right? That's what it does. So keep that in mind as we're watching this. But Jeremy Corbell said this as well in all the interviews, because he did kind of make the rounds and went to various TV shows. He's talking about this footage, making it the new big thing. And he mentioned it as well, that it looks like Nope, right? It looks like the movie Nope. You remember the Jordan Peele movie? It's, you know, I don't know if you've seen it. It's not a terrible movie, especially if you're into these kinds of things, in my opinion. But I mean, by all means, leave your thoughts on the movie Nope down in the comment section below. But so this is the AI-enhanced version. This is the footage that has been circulating. And this is apparently the best footage that we have of this incident. Also noteworthy that the footage has no audio. I've not seen any version that has audio. And the military has not officially confirmed that any of the footage you see here comes from them or is official military footage. It looks like it is, but at the same time, it looks like they've used absolutely terrible cameras, right? I mean, you can see the heavy artifacts in the footage itself. Look here, right, at this ripple that seemingly is dragged behind the object, right? But that is not obviously like not a real ripple. This is just artifacts where the camera struggles to keep up with the change of information and then ghosts these weird artifacts of these ripples behind the object as it moves across the screen. So I don't know, at the same time I've got like some alarm bells that are like, would the military really use tech like this? It feels outdated, it doesn't feel right. Who knows what the story is? The military hasn't confirmed that the footage comes from them. Jeremy Corbell has said that they should confirm it because it's totally from them. Trust me, bro, but we don't have any official confirmation from the military as of right now. So what is it? What are we looking at, right? What is this mysterious object that actually in some parts weirdly looks like a marketing promotion stunt for The Ring? You remember The Ring? See that? There's the UFO on the left, and this is the poster for the movie The Ring on the right-hand side. Is this all just a marketing stunt? Does it mean we're getting a new The Ring movie? I'm hyped. I want to see the movie. I thought the first Ring was great. No, that's not. Let's move on. So with this particular footage, it was actually quite remarkable how many people came forward and proposed certain ideas and showed footage saying it could be this, it could be that. And not just over on Debunk. I saw it on Reddit, on Twitter. People were doing like heavy investigations of what this might be. One of the more interesting theories that I stumbled across while I tried to figure out what we're looking at here is this video here. I'm going to play it for you guys. And it shows like swirls in water and how they then cast a reflection on the bottom of the pool in this case, right? So you get a black shadow that seemingly has no source, but it is like a swirl above it that causes the black shadow. And those black shadows, I mean, bruh, they look identical to the objects that we see in the video, down to them slightly changing shape, right? Obviously because they're just a projection. It's not a physical object. It's a shadow. It's an object casting a shadow. But I really like this. Obviously, lots of people put forward the water droplet theory. That theory being that all you see here is basically a water droplet, a slightly bigger water droplet that gets pushed around by the wind. This, by the way, was allegedly filmed from an AC-130. So you're in a plane moving. I'm saying this because Corbell mentioned here in his tweet, that's we're kind of going back to some of the information he provides, that it was filmed by a platform operating under the direction of the United States Air Force. And then people took that information because we know where it is. People were speculating what air base it might be, what planes were flying at that time, and so on. They were tracing it back, and they came to the conclusion that it probably was an AC-130 that filmed this footage. So it is speculative. I don't know that it was that, but it seems like that it was a moving platform. And there are some other objects in this footage that could be identified as water droplets, like this one here, there's one here. You can see some popping up bottom here, right? Suddenly there are two water droplets there and then they disappear. Again, the footage is so heavily compressed and artifacted that it could really be anything. It could also just be a glitch. You see some of these objects pulling like a trace behind them, right? Like this one here. People are speculating, is this actually an object? Is this a plane? I don't think it is. I think it's someone on the screen and the trace is it's just glitches. Same with the ripple that we looked at earlier where the film couldn't keep up with it and we get like weird artifacts maybe coming from the compression. But the water droplet theory kind of falls flat. People were discussing it. It was the thing for a day or two. I also felt why would there be one water droplet? Like one that's bigger, that's darker, that's more defined than the other one, seemingly not impossible, but didn't seem likely. Also, the alleged water droplet seemed really in focus. And if you look at water droplets in footage like the one we see here, look, they're really out of focus. You could kind of mistake something like this moving in the sky as an object. If it would just be one water droplet and you don't see the boat moving, you could be tricked into believing this is an object, but it's not very well defined because it's on the lens. It's blurry. The other objects seemed more defined. You even had a little reflective edge on it, right? So is the water droplet theory really a match? I don't think so. But then I stumbled across a theory that, in my opinion, explains with a high likeliness what we're seeing here. Okay. So check this out. This was, by the way, posted by the average Chris, okay? And he posts this little video that speeds the footage up and slows it down forwards and reverses it slightly faster than you would normally or usually look at the footage. So check this out, okay? So again, here's the object. The object flies from the left to the right. And the plane that we're in, this alleged AC-130, kind of makes like, or it seems to make almost like a slight left turn, right? It flies around the alleged object almost, right? Let's look at that again. So see that? Like it makes a slight left turn there in the end, right? It moves into that direction. The object then moves this way. But in the beginning of this clip, which by the way is like typical ufology, bro, like how long is this original clip? as 4, 6, 8 seconds, something ridiculous like that. But anyway, but shortly before the plane flies forward and then to the left, it does the exact opposite. It makes a right turn. Basically, it flies like an abstract S shape. It flies a right turn, straight for a second, then a left turn. That's what the plane does. And you can see that in the fast forwarded cloud movement. Okay, look at it. Look at it here. This is the left turn. This is the middle of the footage and the end. Now we're going to the beginning. See that? In the beginning, it does a different turn. In the beginning, it turns to the right. Then it goes straight for a brief second, and then it turns to the left. Now, here's what's interesting. The movement of the UFO, the movement of the object, the alleged object we see here, perfectly correlates with the movement of the plane. Okay, so in the very beginning, right here, where the plane basically still swings to the right-hand side, we're panning this way. The object comes from the top corner there, cooperating with this movement. Then the movement of the plane changes. See? Now it changes, and so does the direction of this object. I'll leave it running in the background. Keep looking at it. You'll see what I mean. Eventually you'll see it. It's quite a detail, but it makes a lot of sense. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. But what this means is that most likely, if the movement of the object perfectly correlates with the movement of the plane, it's probably something like a lens flare. It's a reflection that is on the lens and that moves because the camera, or in this case the plane, is moving, creating the illusion of this object flying across. Because you gotta understand, this is not filmed with a regular camera. This has been filmed, I think, with an infrared camera or something like that. So you can't look at colors at all. What you see here might as well like be a bright sunny day, but the camera doesn't film light in that sense. It films heat. But lens flares can still occur. So I think, looking at this many times, it makes a lot of sense that the motion of the camera, motion of the plane, explains this as being a lens flare. And users over on Debunk, like for example ZW Wolf here, have recreated a similar lens flare here, artificially inducing it and then converting it to black and white, creating a somewhat similar image. I mean, obviously it's different conditions, different camera, different lens size, so many factors to consider here. But you get the idea. It is a dark spherical object with this kind of shiny edge. In this case on the left-hand side. Depending where light sources are, it might be on the opposite side. As you probably notice on the top of the image here, there seems to be like some kind of halo or something. Some people have theorized that that's the sun. It doesn't seem to be the sun. That seems to be a reflection on the screen. That's my theory, at least. However, people have geolocated where this was filmed, which direction they were going, and they figured out that the sun is actually coincidentally in the similar direction. It is basically towards the center and the top of the image. So we're kind of looking directly at the sun as well as the camera moves, as the plane makes the turn. So that plays into the idea that it's probably just a lens flare as well. So personally, for me, having seen all this, I'm pretty much convinced that it's a lens flare. It's some kind of trick of the eye, a light that moves across the lens, a reflection of some kind that gives the illusion of it being an object. But to be honest, that's just my opinion. Okay, that's just me sharing my thoughts on all these theories that we went through now. What do you think? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you think this is the real deal? Do you think this footage is legit? Do you think it's a water droplet? How would you explain it? What's your theory? Maybe I've missed theories that are interesting that I should have mentioned in this video. Leave all that down in the comment section below. I would greatly appreciate that. Now, if you enjoyed the video, then smash the like button, subscribe. Maybe consider joining our Discord, okay? It's a lovely community. We talk about all kinds of things from politics to sports, less sports actually, to UFOs and all other things. The link is in the description. I would love to meet you there. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Bye.